Hello chickens, I'm Kellyanne and you are watching Tea and Tarot on the Four Queens YouTube channel, and the tea for this evening is going to be Rosehip, Rosehip infusion. Rosehip is, in the legend, supposed to be very good for osteoarthritis and joint problems. If you're into herbal magic, Rosehip is often used for good luck spells and protection spells, health spells, and also kind of like working with the spirits and having a positive experience in that sense. So yeah, rosehip, it's good all round. How can I describe the taste? It's vinegary, but in a way that's great. That's about the only way I can describe it. I've been waiting for this all day, but I thought I would save it for tea and tarot. Okay, so my theme for tonight's tea and tarot is going to be searching for love, because as a tarot reader, I have experienced the question, when am I going to find love, many, many times. And it's always been a difficult one for me because prediction heavy tarot, as I've said in other videos, doesn't really go anywhere. If somebody wants kind of like a date and time at which they will meet their tall, dark, handsome stranger, there are many readers out there who can do that. But for me, working from a kind of personal development perspective with tarot, I find that people that spend a lot of time worrying about when they're going to find their perfect partner and when they're going to be able to get married and settle down, when they're going to meet the one, probably need a little bit more guidance regarding how they're actually feeling deeper down and why it is that they are so fixated on this time in the future when everything will be right, as though everything is not quite right now. So I've decided to just go through a few cards, and most of them are from the Suit of Cups. And when I was making a few notes for tonight's episode of Tea and Tarot, I was really annoyed because I was hoping that I would be able to reference quite a lot of cards that weren't in this suit, but I like to kind of go with what organically comes up. And of course the Suit of Cups is the suit of love. It's all about relationships, human interconnectedness, and so on. So naturally my eye was drawn and my heart was drawn to many cards from the Suit of Cups, so it's kind of worked out like that. But of course there are many messages in every suit of tarot that pertain to romance and can help with romantic questions and a romantic area of focus. But for this episode there is going to be quite a lot of focus on the Suit of Cups, so you're just going to have to forgive me being a little bit of a cliche, but there is a lot of good meat on the bone with this. So I'll kick things off with the Two of Cups. The Two of Cups is a card that shows a couple that are clearly very into each other, and there's a great amount of passion there. But it's not like the Lovers card where the two people involved are naked and there seems to be almost an exposure and this sense that they're being very open and honest with each other, and it's very raw and it's very real, and there's probably a lot of compromise in the Lovers and it's very down to earth. The Two of Cups is much more this kind of ceremonial, very ritualistic situation where these people are dressed up to the nines and they're presenting each other with these ceremonial gifts of kind of the chalices of love, and it's all being done in a very formal, very strategic fashion, which suggests a lot of hijinks and a lot of officialdom. So it could be a marriage of some kind, but essentially what the card says to me and how it speaks to me, the whole idea surrounds the fact that these two people at this time in their life may or may not be being completely straightforward and upfront with each other. Yes, they're having this magnificent time of officialdom and ceremony, but we don't really know what's going on beneath. We don't know who these two people really are to each other, what they really know about each other. And that's the important thing, that when ceremony and image is stripped away, what are two people like with each other? So where I'm going with this is, the first message I think the Two of Cups gives is to ask you, what do you think love is and what do you think love should be? When you're looking for love and you're searching for love and you're wondering when it's going to come and find you and jump out at you, have you actually worked out what a loving relationship looks like for you and what you would expect from a loving relationship? Or are you just waiting for somebody to come and take you by the hand and ride you off into the horizon? Because it's very important to the process of individuation that you understand for yourself what a relationship should feel like, that you understand whether or not you believe compromise should be involved, what you think your priorities would be, what your boundaries and limits are, what you wouldn't put up with, what you expect from a partner in terms of their openness, their honesty, the time that they have for you. the kind of relationship that it's going to be and what the construct will be. Now, I'm not saying you have to be a full-on perfectionist and completely reject every kind of even vague flirtation that comes your way on the basis that it's not going to end up being your ideal. What I'm saying is, a lot of people who are searching for love and looking for love have this very hazy, airy-fairy notion of what it's going to be, or they have no notion at all and they're kind of thinking that they're going to be able to just walk along one day and have something blindside them, like a knight in shining armour is just going to come along and take them away. What they need to recognise is that they need to have certain expectations or certain beliefs about what love is, so that when they get into a love relationship, they actually have a sense of identity and they have this feeling that they know themselves and that they know what love should be for them. And of course it's a learning process, and of course people's feelings about love and relationships do change. But it's very important, before we go out trying to seek love and find love, that we work out what love actually looks like to us and what we would like it to be like, and to understand ourselves a little bit and to have a dialogue with ourselves. So basically, this image of this couple that are very happy and, you know, having this kind of time where they put that love out there and they show everybody what it looks like on the surface, that's often what people that are chasing love are looking for. They're looking for that image, but that image is a gloss, it's a veneer. What we need to think about really are the keystones, the foundation of what we think love should be for us, before we just go searching for something that looks like a Hollywood movie almost. So I think there's a great sense of individuation in this card, and a great sense of kind of working out what you're looking for before you go looking for it. The second card, which I think taps in perfectly to this idea, is the World. This is a woman who is complete, and she has completed a journey, and she has undergone the process of individuation, and she is now at the other side of it. So the message with this card when it comes to seeking love and trying to find love is that you are complete, people. You are complete in and of yourself. You are a whole person. So if your search for love is leading you to say, or even think about thinking anything like, I'm looking for somebody to complete me, I need to find my other half, I'm not going to be happy or feel whole or feel at one until I've found this other person, then personally I don't think that tarot can do that much to help you, because tarot is essentially a tool which helps you with individuation and with recognizing that you're whole by yourself, and with the personal relationship you have with the self. So if everything that you want and feel and need and kind of desire is externalized, is projected outwards onto this other mystery person that hasn't yet arrived, and you feel that there's no work you can do on yourself whatsoever to make you feel happy, there's nothing you can have for yourself that will make you feel happy, you're waiting for that other person, then you are kind of projecting the responsibility onto that random future person to make you whole and to make you happy and to make you feel at one with yourself. And that is what I think the world really riles against when it comes to the question of finding love. Finding a true, genuine love that really speaks to you, that's really going to give you something nurturing and wholesome and long term, is probably only going to come and hit you square in the jaw once you have prepared for it by becoming your own person, by recognizing that you love yourself, and by recognizing and understanding and accepting all the reasons why you ought to love yourself, and seeing in the mirror and thinking about all these reasons why someone should love you too, you know. If you don't have any love for yourself to the extent where you recognise that you as an individual have something valid to give and have an incredible life full of sentient experiences to relish and go after, then how are you going to expect somebody else to love you for all those things that you are and all those things that you've done and all those things that you feel and think? You can't really expect that of somebody else if you haven't done it for yourself first, or if you don't feel it inside yourself first. And I think Maya Angelou said something really interesting about this, and it's just come into my head now to say it, so I'm probably going to get it wrong. But she said that there is an African saying, never trust somebody who will give you a shirt when they're naked, or something like that. Basically what she's saying is, don't trust somebody who says that they love you and they'll, you know, they feel this great love for you if they don't love themselves. If they don't love themselves, then they're probably not in the best and most educated decision to give love to somebody else, because how do they know how it works? Where's their foundation? Where's all that love coming from? How can it only be for other people and none for them? That kind of, to her, that didn't make any sense. And for me, more as I go along my journey with tarot, it's not making much sense to me either. I think tarot speaks very, very highly of having that connection with yourself first, and then the connections that you invite into your life will come into your life from a much more honest place, because one, you'll know you deserve them. Two, you'll know your boundaries and your limits when you're not getting what you want, or when you feel belittled or talked down to or disrespected. You'll know when to say stop. If you don't have any self-love, how do you know where those boundaries are? How do you know when to say stop? If you don't value yourself, then surely you don't feel there's any reason to say stop, and that will lead into unhealthy territory when you finally find love. Love. So the world is a great message, and I think those two cards together just kind of speak to me of the importance of individuation and of valuing and respecting yourself. The next card is the Page of Cups, this guy here. And what I was thinking about with this card, okay, this card is all really about being sociable and meeting people and getting yourself out there, enjoying a new circle of friends, re-establishing how your links with your old sets of friends, how you relate to other people, no matter how different they are, no matter what kind of different walks of life you come from, and how you relate to a social setting, and how you relate to the fact that we are pack animals and we kind of have to jostle against each other and deal with each other. So often the Page of Cups comes up when somebody needs to actually get out there, and I think that it's kind of always a bit dangerous when a querent comes to a tarot reader saying that they are seeking love, or that they haven't yet been able to find love, or that they've been single for a really long time. It's dangerous territory when a tarot reader puts too much emphasis on the fact that, oh, you haven't done enough to get out there, you know, you haven't done enough to meet the right person, because that's not always true. That isn't always true, and a lot of times as well, that's not how people meet each other. They don't actually meet each other in these very sort of regimented, preconceived sort of dinner and drinks nights, or speed dating or whatever. That's not how it happens. A lot of the time love just completely blindsides you. It comes out of nowhere. You can find it on a wet Wednesday in the corner shop a lot more easily sometimes than you can find it at a cocktail evening for singles in the city, you know. So it works out different ways for different people, and there's no real right way of finding it. And of course, without that sense of self-love and self-knowledge, you're not going to find the right match anyway, because you haven't begun from within. But what I think the Page of Cups does lend itself to as a message is it's great when we're thinking about the law of attraction. And I am no big speaker on the law of attraction, but if you want to know more about how to really invest it into your life and use it to make your will manifest, just nip on over to Joanna DeVoe's channel, because she's got that subject down, and she kind of puts it forward in a really simple, really kick-ass kind of way, where she doesn't steep it in mysticism and terminology, and you know, you don't need a dictionary to understand it, you just need Joanna DeVoe. So the law of attraction. And I think that the Page of Cups is all about being open to that and being confident in every fibre of your being, telling yourself that what you want is going to manifest, and telling yourself that you deserve it to manifest. So I think that's kind of the whole vibe with the Page of Cups. I think it's not so much about telling a querent to get their ass out there because that's how they're going to find it. Not really so much, but I think it's more about the spirit of the thing. I think it's more about starting from here and branching out like a tree. And of course, you know, you need to be a little bit of a social animal in one way or another to develop your relationships with people and to understand if you're going to make a good partner with somebody, that kind of thing. But I think it's also healthy for yourself to begin that process. It's healthy for you to understand how you communicate with people, how you feel about certain groups of people. It's a great springboard for self-exploration. It's not just about going out and meeting that person. You'll find if you take yourself purposefully into a social situation in order to find love in one way or another, you'll find a whole lot besides. Even if you find your future husband at a pagan moot that you forced yourself to go to because you want to find a pagan partner, even if you find your future husband there, you'll probably also find a whole bunch of friends, a whole load of great crystals that came at a really nice price, an excellent day with loads of photos to prove it, just an awesome experience all round. So, you know, even if you've got a totally one-track mind and you're going after that one thing, the Page of Cups is all about saying, you know what, even if you are gung-ho ambitious for that one thing, a lot of other stuff is going to come out of you just getting out there and making your will manifest through intention. And the last two cards have a relationship with each other. I tried to decide whether or not I should use one or the other, and it kind of occurred to me in the end that both of them speak to each other and interlink really comfortably. So I'm going to go ahead and show them both at the same time. I've selected the Four and the Five of Cups. And both of these have kind of similar messages in a way. So I will begin with the Four. The Four of Cups is a message about contemplating too deeply and becoming too introspective to the point where you can't see opportunity in front of your face. This guy is under a tree, he is in a very contemplative state, he is completely self-absorbed, he is on a journey that he hasn't really invited anyone into and has kind of lost himself inside. And what he's not recognising as he's kind of on his deep meditative journey, probably thinking about these cups, which kind of represent his idea of himself or the situation, he's not recognising that out of nowhere, this crazy cloud has come out of the sky and is offering him this completely new chalice with new substance that he's never seen, never tasted, never experienced before. But he's too busy with his eyes closed, on his own little journey, doing what he's probably been doing for way too long. He needs to shake things up. He needs to stand up, open his eyes, look around and recognise that there are a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of potential, there's a lot of things happening. So sometimes when you're trying to find love and it's become kind of a fixation, you often will not realise that it's hiding in plain sight. And a lot of the time as well, there's this sense of dwelling or this sense of resentment or a sense of panic that you haven't found it yet, something like that, something along those lines. And that in itself can be an almost unhealthy meditative state where you get lost in it and you don't recognise that you need to change in order to be happy. Somebody that wants to always be happy needs to be prepared to change often, change things up, shake things up, look at things in a new way, walk down a different street tomorrow, you know. Think about something in a new way, wear something that you haven't worn for ages, see how you feel, you know, mix it up. And I think that those little opportunities and those little sparks of light will kind of come out of the woodwork, and I think that's a great message with the Four of Cups. The Five of Cups, again, is this person that's shrouded, very kind of absorbed in their own journey, unhappy, cloaked, unwilling to be seen or touched, unwilling to talk about it, very kind of self-contained. And this person is mourning over spilt cups, potential that perhaps has not manifested itself the way they thought it might do, desires they had that were not kind of, they didn't see the light of day, anything unrequited, anything that they invested a lot of hope into that in the end turned out to be not so great. They are very, very busy reflecting on this and fixating on this to the point where they actually haven't noticed that there are two full cups behind them, out of view, which are for the taking and which are full of nurturing and full of nourishment and full of lessons to learn. But because they're in this shroud, they haven't quite gotten over these fallen cups that represent so many disappointments and maybe even, you know, elements of tragedy. They are unable to see what else is there for the taking, and that's the tragedy with the Five. And I think that a lot of times when people are trying to find love, and they're on this mad journey that kind of leads them to this idea that they need to ask a tarot reader, when is it going to happen? What's the time and date that this thing is going to happen? I need to know. I think there's almost sometimes a sense of hiding from things that have gone wrong in the past by just setting your intention solely on that one point in the future where this person is going to come along and make everything right. You don't need to wait for that time, and you don't need to be completely absorbed by that time in the past that's hurt you, or that's made you feel bitterness, or that's made you feel like I'll never love again, or no one's ever going to love me again, or I can't trust anybody because of that thing that happened in the past. You know, you don't need to hold on to those things by projecting them onto a future time when everything's going to be great. You can deal with those things in the here and now. You absolutely can. And, you know, the search for love, there's nothing innately wrong with it, and there's nothing pathetic about it or desperate about it, and I would never say that. But what I would say is that I think that a lot of people who ask that kind of question during a tarot reading need to start by looking deeper and need to start by working deeper before anything else in the external world can manifest. They need to know who they are, they need to know what they deserve, they need to know why they're looking for love, and they need to know, most importantly, what they think about love before they start trying to kind of ask or expect somebody else to come along and give that to them on a plate. You know, they need to bring their identity to the table so they know that when they get into this love match, it's going to be healthy and it's going to be right for them. Thank you for watching Tea and Tarot, and have a really good evening, and grab yourself some rosehip infusion if you like tea, because it is lush. Bye guys.